Hi there, welcome back for another episode of Dave's Desk, still filmed in the rectory porch. We're going to start a new series today, which we're going to call Building Blocks, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be going through those foundation stones of faith, and I'm just going to be sharing my understanding of these different underlying key sort of understandings and beliefs that together form what we call Christianity. And so that's what we're going to go through, and we're going to start at the beginning, and we're going to start with God as he was in the beginning. And those are the first few words of the most English translations of the Bible. In the beginning, God. And in those few words we understand that God did something really extraordinary in creation. He created time. And I think it sounds like a really sort of out there type thing when you start talking about the nature of time. But how many of us, when we were children, or maybe if we've got children, have wondered about the question of who made God, or what happened before God? Or if you're from a more sort of scientific, humanistic background, what was happening before the Big Bang? What happened before creation? And interestingly, the answer to both is basically the same, is that before time, there is no before and after. Time requires you to have questions like before and after, but without time, there is no before and after. There just is. And so I believe that God created time in that moment of in the beginning God, because that was the beginning of time. And so before in the beginning, God was. The Bible says that God was, God is, and God is to come. And so we have this understanding that God is outside of our understanding of time. So God isn't controlled by time, God creates time. Indeed, there's at least one place in the Bible where God seems to mess around with time a little bit to answer people's prayers, not necessarily something was a good idea as it's described in the Bible. Happens to Hezekiah. And so in the beginning God creates time, and so we understand God to be outside of time, and that impacts then on both on our understanding of who God is in relationship to who we are, in that God is very big and very powerful, and we're trapped within this sort of system of cause and effect which he instigated but which he is outside of. And then that impacts on our relationship with him. Have you ever been asked, oh, could you just pray for me, I've got an interview at 3 o'clock, and you say, oh yeah, definitely will, and then it gets to 4 o'clock and you think, oh, I've missed it, I can't pray now. But actually you can, because God is outside of time, so God can do things whenever he chooses to do things, which, if you're not sure about it, is intentionally confusing. And that also helps us to understand if you've ever wondered about predestination and free will. So if you've ever wondered how the Christians can say that God knows everything, and therefore he knows what's going to happen and what has happened, but how can you line that up with Christians also saying that we have free will and we can choose which way to go? Surely it's one or the other. But actually, because God sits out of time, I'm both free to choose whether to sort of eat chocolate or broccoli. I know which one I'm having. But God is outside of time, and so he knows, because he's present where I have eaten broccoli or chocolate, and he's present where I have yet to eat broccoli or chocolate, and equally present in both. And therefore God, as I relate to him now, knows everything that he will know later. I realise I said it was basic, and that sounds a little bit sci-fi-ish, but it's true. And that's the wonderful thing, that we start off with these foundations of God in the beginning, he who is outside of every part of our understanding and greater than all we know, and therefore present with us and understanding us in all that we are. That's our first sort of building block question. We'll be back with another video looking at why God created and what that means for us. Thank you for joining us today. Hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.